I recently got a message from someone through Instagram, and this guy was asking me, he didn't like his work and he wanted to know how he could improve it and whether it was all worthwhile. Well, the first thing I told him was yes, it is worthwhile. And what I told him to do was to look for the things that he loved or that he liked even in his work. There might just be some little gems that he liked, and that would lead him to finding what it is that he could make the artwork about or how he could improve it. So I thought, I tried to explain this to him, by text, but I thought that it would be good if I could explain this by looking at my work and showing you sort of my thought processes and how I find what I like and then what I decide to put near it, or how I try and make those things more important in the work. So looking at this one, um, what I wanted here was quite a loose arrangement of different marks and effects and colours, and I want it to be sort of soft, but have a sort of a looseness and a flow about it. So the edges were all quite sort of they are soft in places, and then to contrast that, I have got some hard edges, but the hard edges are small and the soft edges are big. So I've got much more soft edges than I have hard edges in this painting. Looking for things that I like things like this, where there's the combination of media, like this white mark here on top of the yellow and the pink, and there's built up in layers, and it's quite loose, and it's quite there's not a lot of definition in that. It's quite loose. So when I see an area like that, I know that near it I want to put something that is opposite to that. So what is opposite to a loose arrangement of marks and colours? What is opposite to that is, in my mind, when I'm doing my painting, is an area or something where there is more intention, there is more thought, there's more care in the application of the paint and the arrangement of things. So things like these stripes, this is built up by, it's much more intentional than that. That's done quite quickly. This takes a bit longer. Same with these stripes through here as well, and we've got them through here. And these sharp edges here, that's quite different from the edges that we see here. And so putting those differences together, I know that they're going to look good. If it was all smushy, all loose, there'd be nothing for it to bounce off and have some sort of contrast with. If it was all pattern and all hard edges, I mean, that can look nice if that's what you're wanting, that's great. And sometimes, you'll find differences within that. But to have these sort of loose paint effects next to that is just butting up a couple of really strong opposites next to each other, and that always looks good. It's a bit like when you eat something. If you eat something, if you have say you're eating an ice cream or something, and it's all soft and it's all, melty, to have something crunchy in there is really nice. And this is the same type of thing. To find an opposite and put them together really works well, and helps you to find things that helps you to like the things that you have in your painting more. So with this guy showing me his work, he had a lot of the same things. So what he needed was to find what he loved about it and to find the opposite of that, and then to bring that into his work so that the thing that he loved would look even better. Up here there's another example. This area here is paint that's been put on and then rubbed off, and it's very loose. It's happened really by accident, just through experimentation. And here's dribbles, and that happens by accident and experimentation. But next to it is a bit that is sort of a little bit like a diagram, which is drawn and ruled, and that's an opposite. So here's another one here. This combination of stripes and lines here next to this here, which is a lot looser and done sort of accidentally. That's an opposite. Looking at this painting over here, it's kind of different. So what I've got here is I've got a great big shape, and what I've set it on is a really thin, skinny little edge. That's an opposite. So we've got great big, and lots of differences and lots of things happening in here, to this little skinny thing which is just black and very simple. So there's the opposite there. Here, I mean, it's all the same. This is all quite rough and made of, done very, built up with layers and paint put on and scraped off, so that you never really know what sort of effect you're going to get. When you find it that you like it, you think, yay, I'll leave that. And then next to that, I've put, things that have a definite shape and are much more intentionally done, like sort of much more defined. These lines here sitting on this sort of area, which is quite sort of undefined, and this whole thing is really, it's very textured. When I rub my hand over it, there's lots of lumps and bumps. It's really built up with lots of layers, and so to have these little defined bits, these little edges that are quite sharp, that's opposite to all these loose edges that are, fairly undefined and just sort of softly move in and out of each other. So, and the other thing in these paintings as well is the use of line. So some lines are thick, other lines are thin, some lines are painted on, other lines are made by scratching through the wet paint and getting thin lines. And also drawing lines with pencil onto here, as well as painting them. So looking for all those differences and opposites is really how you're going to make your painting look a lot more interesting, and how you're going to find the bits that you love in it. So it's like, going back to that ice cream analogy, finding the ice cream that you like and then finding the yummy thing that's going to go with it, that's going to make it taste even nicer, and that whole experience of eating it be even lovelier. So I hope that's helped.